And we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the PSBTA Technical Solutions webinar series. My name is Martha Ellis, and I'm the Executive Director of the Public Safety Broadband Technology Association, or the PSBTA. Our mission as an association is to work as an end user advocate for all first responders and service providers who support response, mitigation, and recovery efforts during emergencies. We've created this webinar series in an effort to bring you the most current and accurate information on all aspects of broadband use for public safety personnel. We all have a role in how our wireless future evolves to meet the first responders' needs. So we also need to hear from you. Your questions and suggestions help network, hardware, and application developers focus their efforts on what's important to you. Today's presentation is all about how to reliably connect to your public safety wireless network, FirstNet, during these particularly demanding times, when you need it and where you need it. Before we get started, I have just a couple housekeeping items. All attendees have been automatically muted to reduce background noise. Any questions should be submitted directly to us through the questions function, which is located on the bottom of the menu on the right side of your screen. Questions will be answered at the end of our presentations. We will attempt to answer as many questions as possible, yet stay within our allotted hour. We will follow up with any questions that we were unable to get to during the live portion of the webinar after we are finished up today. So should you have any further questions when the webinar is over, we will also provide emails for the presenters at the end so you can follow up at your convenience. That being said, today's topic focuses on what it means to keep first responders and all entities critical to emergency response and recovery connected. These days, we are being tested in a number of ways, and remaining agile, adaptive, and innovative allows first responders and all medical professionals to maintain critical situation awareness and connectivity to effectively protect their communities. It is important that all public safety personnel know and understand there is a mobile network option available exclusively to them in FirstNet, and that staying connected can be achieved with the right equipment. Today, we're going to hear from Jonathan Fisher, Cradlepoint Vice President over Business Development, and Larry Ewitt, he's a member of the FirstNet Solutions team, the FirstNet Advanced Solutions team with FirstNet built with AT&T. They're going to help bring clarity to overcoming some of the communications challenges that we've been faced with nationwide. Our current circumstances continue to not only demonstrate the importance of having a purpose-built, fully designated public safety broadband network, but also how to optimize connectivity with the right equipment. With that being said, I will go ahead and turn it over to Larry and Jonathan to begin our webinar today on COVID-19, secure connectivity for rapid first and emergency response.
Thanks, Martha. So again, my name is Larry Ewert. I'm a National Solutions Architect for the FirstNet Advanced Solutions team and responsible for technical consultation across the national footprint. My team helps with complex solutions, private network architecture, LMR to LTE interoperability, and mobility design and deployment strategies for public safety technology. So today I want to give you a brief FirstNet update and some key milestone information. So FirstNet is the public safety broadband network. It's more than just an LTE network. It's an ecosystem of service, mission-ready applications, and purpose-built devices, keeping you connected with accountability and dedication. FirstNet delivers the fastest overall network experience, performing faster than any commercial network for the last 2 quarters in a row. There is no throttling on FirstNet, anywhere, at any time, for any FirstNet subscriber. Today, we have over 1.2 million connections and over 11,000 agencies and organizations subscribing to FirstNet. We provide public safety with the only physical separate network core in the country, monitored by a security operations center dedicated to FirstNet, and can only be accessed by approved subscribers using a unique FirstNet SIM. We also give you priority and preemption to primary agencies on every device, application, and connection. With over 100 devices, including several from Cradlepoint, and a catalog of certified applications to assist with situational awareness and mobile workflow. Coverage and capacity is increasing across the country through the rollout of Band 14 spectrum, which is live in about 700 markets today. 120,000 square miles of LTE coverage was added in 2019. So Band 14 is FirstNet. Other carriers will tell you that spectrum is spectrum. Band 14 was set aside specifically for public safety, and AT&T is legally required to clear all traffic when and where first responders need it, creating a VIP lane for critical communications. Today, we are about 75% completion and well ahead of schedule with our Band 14 rollout. So here's some situations and use cases, some specific to our COVID response 19 efforts. We're currently working with Dallas Fire and Rescue and other agencies around the nation to provide FirstNet coverage at designated testing sites. Some are set up using tents, staging in parking lots, and some are inside large arenas, conference centers, or large naval vessels. We're helping with hospitals dealing with capacity issues and providing drop-in networks using the Cradlepoint solution to allow for critical connectivity and remote application use. We're seeing clinicians working from home, needing secure access back to hospital systems. Radiologists being able to read and send and receive large files while working at home in a secure manner. Also providing connectivity via Wi-Fi to some care facilities to allow video chat between patients and family members. FirstNet can help with your common operation picture, providing applications to enhance situational awareness before, during, and after an event. We engage with local agencies and incident command personnel to provide mobile connectivity to help rapidly deploy decision support tools. ISDs are changing the way they consider critical communications. Texas ISD, here where I live, in the greater Houston-Harris County area, chose FirstNet to provide hardened Band 14 smartphones with enhanced push-to-talk to provide secure communication between resource officers, principals, and key staff members to help react and coordinate without having to rely on walkie-talkies or aging campus radio systems. We're able to increase call paths to help the volume of data due to the uptick with voice over IP traffic due to all the web conferences going on today. Or by increasing or augmenting bandwidth at facilities using FirstNet LTE and the Cradlepoint solution. FirstNet has 76 dedicated deployables to you. That includes 3 new satellite cell on wings and 1 aerostat. These are all Band 14 enabled, up to 25 megabits down, up to 8 megabits up. No need for any battery packs. It's all self-contained inside the vehicle. So how do you request a deployable? We have a dedicated customer care line that's open 24/7 by 365, or you can contact your FirstNet Solutions consultant. We have the FirstNet Response Operation Group that will evaluate and prioritize requests from the public safety agencies using FirstNet using the National Incident Management System. For planned events, such as concerts, festivals, or sporting events, we ask that you submit your request at least 30 days in advance. Public safety agencies on FirstNet can request deployables at no additional charge. We never charge you for using our deployables. In addition to the 76 dedicated deployables, which include the aerostat blimp and the 3 flying cells on wings, we may coordinate with AT&T for access to its fleet of hundreds of deployables of varying types. That's all I have today. I appreciate your time, and I will turn it over to John, and please let us know if we can help.
Let me get my screen here set up. All right. I think everybody can see that. Good morning, good afternoon to some. My name is Jonathan Fisher. I'm the Vice President of North American Carrier Development here at Cradlepoint with a focus on AT&T and FirstNet. And Larry, thanks for joining. Appreciate all the partnership with AT&T and with FirstNet here at Cradlepoint. I actually have a background in public safety. I'm a 20-year veteran firefighter and a life member of the Peters Township Fire Department just outside of Pittsburgh. As a firefighter, I specialized in interior firefighting, vehicle rescue, and swiftwater rescue, as well as ice rescue. I've since moved from the Pittsburgh area down to Florida to get away from that ice rescue. But I was also part of our rapid intervention team, and we actually had a save which ended in a Medal of Honor for gallantry received in 2004. And I also served 10 years on the Washington County Hazmat team. So really take this public sector and public safety thing very seriously. So a little bit about Cradlepoint. Cradlepoint is the industry leader in cloud-delivered LTE network solutions. Our wireless edge solutions offer access to LTE to give public safety agencies the reach, reliability, and flexibility that they need so that their teams are always connected in a mission-critical kind of way. Currently, we're in 4 out of 4 branches of the military, 8 of the 11 federal law enforcement agencies, and over 3,000 public safety agencies, including police, fire, and EMS throughout the U.S., and we're ever expanding internationally. So today I'm going to talk to you about how we provide mission-critical solutions for public safety partners, to our public safety partners, and how they can effectively and efficiently do their daily jobs while maintaining safe operations and returning, most importantly, home to their families. Sorry, it's not advancing. Okay, there it goes. So what is emergency network response? AT&T and FirstNet and Cradlepoint created a solid mission critical solution. We are able to simply drop ship with pre-activated SIMs, either AT&T commercial SIMs or FirstNet SIMs, right into a hot zone. And we experienced this quite a bit through the COVID response. Anything from public safety to hospitals, all creating the need for pop-up emergency operations centers and needing to do it very, very quickly without having to send IT teams into the hot zone to set them up. So simply we're able to set the configure, insert the SIM, activate those SIMs, and send them right in to the hot zone and be able to operate as an all-in-one FirstNet ready wireless network. Let's talk about a few use cases. The first one is going to be the city of Richmond. City of Richmond is a population of 223,000 people, about 460 police officers, 400 firefighters, and about 12 IT personnel. so substantially outweigh the IT personnel. They deployed 350 plus Cradlepoint routers, and they transferred them all onto the FirstNet network. Their calls are dispatched over CAD, so they needed to have a network that was mission critical and up and running from the beginning to the end of their shifts. They use NetCloud to track their data, analytics, and be able to manage those remote devices. And with a small IT team, they needed really a single pane of glass that was easy to manage, configure, and update all of that remotely. There was no need to pull cars off the road in order and put them into the motor pool in order to update and configure those solutions. They were able to deploy them across the entire fleet in just a few short weeks. Let's talk a couple minutes about consumer LTE devices. Consumer LTE devices are not mission critical. Oftentimes, these consumer devices don't have Ethernet, are not ruggedized for vehicle or for use in the field. They aren't able to be managed remotely, and they provide only basic security. Cradlepoint offers a solid, ruggedized, mission-critical solution with real enterprise-class security, Department of Defense compliant encryption, such as FIPS 140-2, and the ability to remotely configure, control, and troubleshoot those devices once they're out there. Whether they be in a vehicle, a hot zone like a medical tent, or somewhere in a remote area that you simply can't roll a truck to or get an IT person to. A couple other use cases. This one came up real recently, obviously, as COVID-19 came about. There were several quarantine sites staffed by U.S. Marshals who assisted with perimeter security and public safety. The one that really comes to mind is Travis Air Force Base out in California. The challenge was they needed immediate connectivity for their resources that were on site, and they required their network comms to be encrypted and secured. They had to be deployed with little or no IT personnel on site, and it literally had to be plug and play. So they configured everything remotely over the air, and once it was plugged in, it downloaded those configurations automatically to the device. And those IT folks could remain in the safe zone and be able to offer management, configuration, and reporting all remotely. Cradlepoint deployed this pop-up network solution utilizing our IBR 1700, which is a ruggedized router solution that can easily be placed into the field. Can either run off of a lighter socket, a battery, or simply plugged into a generator or just a regular power source. And we're able to provide that with the government encryption that the U.S. Marshals required for their comms, and be able to do that all in one single package. And they set these up strategically throughout the Air Force Base so that the Marshals could communicate back and forth. The next one we're probably all seeing on the news, which is the medical task force teams. These are the folks dedicated to providing testing, treatment, and tracking of patients, specifically COVID-19 patients. They report their findings and inform patients of status and treatment, whether it be on site or through communications with email and otherwise. And these sites had to be quickly set up in the field. So think about the field hospital in New York City or some of the boats out there that were set up. They needed quick and fast and reliable communications from those areas. So that challenge is they needed to have clients of upwards of 80 users and or devices. They needed both wired and wireless medical devices to be put online. And the teams on site weren't IT people, so they needed it to be managed and operated remotely and done securely while meeting HIPAA requirements. So the Cradlepoint teams were able to put together a solution for them along with FirstNet and do a plug-in and go SIM-activated solution, secured and remotely managed by our NetCloud solution. And this really helped provide medical evaluations, diagnosis, testing and patient medical care, and really improve the doctor EMT communication through the connectivity to either ambulances or end user patients via telemedicine or otherwise. The next one we're going to talk about is the docking of the Grand Princess in the Port of Oakland, California. The Grand Princess docked in Oakland on March 9th of 2020 rather. 3,500 passengers and crew from 24 states and 54 countries were documented, tested, and transported. The response included medical staff, also called hasty teams, who conducted medical screenings. The response also included logistics teams to transport to nearby special designated quarantine hotels and Travis Air Force Base. And those security teams, medics, and fire folks need to have solid connectivity. So in order to provide reliable internet connectivity in these temporary locations, we are able to deploy a multi-carrier solution that provided a 99.9% uptime solution. So that would be whether it be FirstNet and AT&T commercial, or FirstNet and a carrier and another carrier, to provide back and forth connectivity to make sure that they're always up. They also needed connectivity for patient-worn armbands, RF scanners, PCs, and other peripherals like printers, and that required something a lot more than just a hotspot to provide that solution. The next one is a large Army outpost. One of the largest U.S. Army training outposts identified an urgent need, and they needed immediate network connectivity for 34 acres worth of temporary quarantine tents. Internet connectivity is essential for various devices and applications, including Wi-Fi for soldiers and handheld ID scanners that would help them decrease the threat of the passing of virus. With a directive to quickly provide network connectivity in temporary locations, the information services team was faced with key challenges, one of them being only a few IT folks could manage and operate these devices remotely. And they were forced to telecommute and be able to still manage devices and solutions in the hot zone. So we're able to deploy NBKs. These are ruggedized cases, including a battery, integrated antennas, provided for Wi-Fi and Ethernet connectivity. So it's all in basically a Pelican case scenario. And they're able to deploy these out across the 34 acres and bring them up very, very quickly and be able to manage and operate those devices. So what's the magic behind the solution? We've really talked a lot about NetCloud Manager. NetCloud Manager is that ability to remotely cloud-based manage on a single pane of glass. It allows a single person to potentially manage thousands of Cradlepoint devices. And you don't need to be a PhD or be an expert IT person to operate them. Even small organizations with little to no IT team can harness the power of NetCloud. And everything can be, everything from tracking vehicles to ensuring your agency is CFIUS compliant can all be done inside of NetCloud. So I think about my own little tiny fire department with 50 firefighters. Oftentimes I was the IT person over the last 20 years, and they said, hey, listen, we need a database built to track calls, or we need to connect these engines or whatever. It's usually another firefighter, another police officer that's actually delivering this. So we provide an easy solution for anybody that's not an IT expert to be able to operate and manage. So it doesn't require you to have a big IT team with lots of expertise to be able to have the feature functionality that even the largest departments like Chicago, City of Chicago, and LA County Fire Department have out there with Cradlepoint. So lastly, this is a program, as I said, we took very seriously as Cradlepoint when we went full on in with public safety and with FirstNet 3 years ago. We developed a program called FirstConnect, and FirstConnect provides for grant assistance, training for IT and operational staff, specifically around public safety. So we have a team of folks that understand public safety. We also created a public safety priority support access line so that our public safety partners go right to the front of the line if they have any issues. We also are providing referrals for installations. So if you have vehicles or fire trucks or whatnot that need the installations with antennas and wiring into vehicles, we have installers to refer you to. Also, grant assistance, providing the ability to help with grant writing around LTE devices for Cradlepoint, can offer that assistance as well. And then lastly, this past year we did two donations, and we continue to do this throughout the year. Really great donations. The first one to the First Responders Children's Foundation. And the last one we did to the Dennis Leary Firefighters Foundation as well in 2020. So we're all in with our public safety folks. Appreciate all that you do out there. And with that, I will turn it over to for some questions.
All right, fantastic. Great presentations, gentlemen. I think I'll start with you, Jonathan, quickly. Can you speak in a little bit more detail about maintaining the security that is required for many of our public safety requirements with HIPAA and CJIS and so forth? How can the end user be assured that as these agencies have these expanding and contracting needs out in the field, that level of security is being maintained?
Yeah, sure. So security comes in a bunch of different flavors, right? So that's the ability to secure things, data in motion, data at rest, and ensuring encryption of that data and ensuring that CJIS compliance can be met. So we provide the tools through our management platform to be able to meet those security requirements. It also allows remote parties, IT folks, and whatnot to ensure and enforce those IT security measures, because we all know that we become the threat vector, right? All of a sudden, your police car, your fire truck becomes a threat vector for a cyber criminal, right? It's either trying to steal data or perhaps do some harm to the vehicle, right? Maybe backdoor into a part of the vehicle, turn on the lights and siren without you knowing about it, something like that, right? Anything is very possible out there, and cyber criminals will take full-on advantage of that capability if given the opportunity. So we provide a very secure platform that allows management of IT to enforce all of that security down to the device. Where even an officer or even a third party couldn't go in and break that security off without having the right access to the devices.
Great, thank you. Larry, I'm going to direct this question toward you. I'd really like to have you expand a little bit on the role that the FAST actually plays in the context of FirstNet. Maybe why the team was stood up and what types of actual roles and responsibilities you have, and do you interact with the end user? Do you have any services that you provide to the end user?
Sure. So we have different personnel for different roles. So my team members, for the majority of their time spent, are focused on the strategic work for state systems, LMR, LTE interoperability, trying to get our mission critical services platform, pushed up top, to evangelize what FirstNet can do is for push to talk, push to video, push to data. I work as their solutions architect, so I'm kind of their technical consultant, and I work nationwide with all FirstNet consultants. So I'm a kind of a technical consultant from anywhere from, networking, building things that connect the agency's network to the FirstNet network, and then layering in and stitching in security and cybersecurity. So basically just an all-around solutions architect.
Okay, fabulous. And then one other question while I've got you, Larry, John, Larry, are the cells on wheels, are they tethered to a power source? Can you let our listeners know how those are powered and how it's maintained?
So our SAP Colts are completely self-contained. So everything that it needs rolls up to where the coverage is needed, and it's sustainable, self-contained. So uses satellite for the backhaul. It has a generator on board, and so it doesn't need power. It doesn't need backhaul. It doesn't need fiber. It can go anywhere and drop in band 14 connectivity wherever the public safety agency needs it.
Okay, I might have said wheels. I meant wings. So the ones that we're actually putting up in the air, can you talk a little bit about how those are tethered as well, and the power supply? I'm
sure.
I might have misread it.
Sure, they are tethered. They go up about 50 feet up in the air, and they tether to the base, or the base of the Colt, or a similar structure. So yes, they have a similar structure, but they tether 50 feet in the air.
Okay. Perfect. All right, great. So this question is going to pretty much go to both of you. Larry, you can go ahead and take it first. People want to know how 5G is going to affect FirstNet. So if you can talk a little bit about 5G and where we're headed with FirstNet.
So FirstNet is authorized. The FirstNet Authority has authorized reinvestment funding to prepare the FirstNet core for 5G. And that's basically all we have right now. There are some press releases on AT&T.com or FirstNet.com that kind of give what that snapshot looks like. So it is going to be funded. It's right now we're designing use cases and how we would push it out to the edge. But it's a little bit down the road, not too far down the road, but we want to make sure we do it right, and we want to make sure that it falls within the parameters of what we have with LTE and band 14.
All right, and then Jonathan, to you, how is 5G going to impact what Cradlepoint is doing?
Yeah, so on the 5G side, it's going to be an evolution, right? So with our gigabit 1.2 gig LTE Cat 18 devices that we have today provides a really solid solution, especially for vehicles and whatnot today. For 5G and branch in the future, we'll be working closely with the FirstNet teams on their strategy around 5G. Cradlepoint is providing for a graceful upgrade from 4G to 5G, but 4G is still going to be out there. It's still going to be required, and 5G will be, to use an AT&T term, the chunky peanut butter, right? So they're going to have the chunks out there of really solid 5G. And then you'll have the solid 4G fallback with band 14 and FirstNet, and they'll move to the best solution or best speeds and best access network at that time. And so we'll have that solution later this year.
Okay, and Jonathan, while you're speaking about that, can you speak a little bit about Cradlepoint and the HPUE? First, define the acronym, and then talk a little bit about where Cradlepoint is heading with that high-powered capabilities.
So we are currently testing with HPUE today, and I really can't say much more than that. We're we see some value in it. But we provide a really solid solution with remoting antennas, and it's a solution we're looking into at this point.
Okay, and just can you give us the definition what the acronym stands for? HPUE. I know it's high powered.
Yeah, so HPUE is a high power user equipment. And high power user equipment basically allows for the transmit to be increased, typically used in router type situations. I don't think you want to put that up to your head or your ear. I don't know what the ramifications are for that, but typically used with an antenna that's being remoted, and it's able to basically increase the power. And the intent is that you can get to towers much further away, and the towers have lots of power, so they're able to transmit to the end user, but the end user equipment typically isn't able to transmit back. So this allows you to go from, I think, 23 dB to 31 dB, in that orders of magnitude, supposed to give you a good range.
All right, great. Thank you for that explanation. I think that's what the listener was looking for. So back to you, Larry. In the context of the FirstNet push-to-talk, can you talk a little bit about where that is and how FirstNet built by AT&T is accomplishing that platform, getting that application up and running?
Yeah, so it's very exciting. So it just launched in a controlled kind of manner. So FirstNet Push-to-Talk is available today. Right now, it's only available on one device. It's the Samsung XCover Field Pro. So, but we plan on pushing it out to different devices in the very near future. So you can subscribe today. It is our first offering of what we call mission-ready services, and more to follow. So, but today it is available. And again, Samsung has a phone that it was built specifically for for FirstNet push-to-talk, and more to follow.
So on that first iteration, can you tell me a little bit about the capabilities as far as just voice or texting or video? What could the user experience with this first iteration?
So the first iteration is going to give you voice, and it's going to give you HD quality voice, and it's going to give you voice with the highest priority that we can offer over our LTE network, right below 911. So it's going to give you that type of priority. It's built into our network. It is a core element of the FirstNet network. So we're excited to have it right now. It is available. It's only going to get better. We'll have iterations that change it up from a skin perspective to adding amenities to adding interop later down the road this year. So we're excited to start building upon it.
Great. Well, you mentioned that one device. I'm wondering, a question's been posed. Will any AT&T device work on FirstNet?
So any is probably a tough one to answer. There are devices out there today that are being used by public safety that are a little bit older, and due to budgets and the turnaround time or just the refresh rate of hardware, that they haven't been able to get a band 14 ready device either on iOS or Android, right? So we do have devices going back to, I believe, the iPhone 8 and I believe the Galaxy S8 series that don't necessarily work with band 14. They don't have band 14 enabled, but they will work on the FirstNet network and allow you to have the priority and preemption. It just doesn't, it isn't built for band 14. So not every device will work. Check with your FirstNet consultant. If you have some devices and you, especially if they're older modems or routers or, just strange ubiquitous things that connect, like IoT devices, let us know and we'll track it down for you.
Okay, so the best advice is if there's a question to get with your FirstNet solutions team consultant in your area. And if anybody has any questions about that, you can contact us at the PSBTA if you're unable to identify who that consultant might be, and we'll be happy to direct you to who your local representative would be. So as we're moving, presumably, out of the COVID fog, have there been any considerations, or is there anything that the state should be considering in preparation for when we do begin to open back up in the context of broadband? And either one of you can grab that question.
Yeah, I mean, this is John. So I think that it's just going to be a new way of working going forward, right? Social distancing in the workplace, whether it be in a 911 center, an EMS barracks. I know my home department, we're doing weekly health check-ins. We're doing Zoom webinars for our trainings that we would do every Monday night. I think it's really just going to change the way we do things, at least for the short term, if not for the, hopefully take some of the best practices and the best things of this, if there's any silver lining, and leverage some of that capability to do, whether it be training or response. I know that I have quite a few neighbors that are doctors, and they have all gone to at least half of their patients being visited using telemedicine, where my neighbor had never done any telemedicine before that. So I think that hopefully it'll give a head start towards things that we've talked about as a nation for a long time in telemedicine, and gets us moving in that right direction as well.
From a technical standpoint, Larry, is there anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I would just say, check your devices, make sure that you're fully equipped for any situation. If you, if you go out in your remote, or if you're in a mobile environment, that you have everything that you need, to be able to completely do the job that you need to do. We work in a primary environment, but we also work in a failover too. So we have a lot of our devices that sit in PSAPs for failover. So should something happen to the primary network at these PSAPs, they're falling back to FirstNet. So it's basically business as usual for us, but we're just making sure that the network is ready. The capacity is there, and if we need to adjust something on the fly, we certainly can.
Okay, great. And go ahead.
Yeah, we actually got to test out the PSAP portion of it a few years ago. I had handed out a bunch of 1700s to FirstNet consultants 2 days before Hurricane Michael hit the panhandle of Florida, and specifically in Mexico Beach, where they were able to leverage one of those devices I had handed out to the FirstNet consultant and connect their PSAP and operate a lot of their emergency operations center through a Cradlepoint with a FirstNet SATCOLT. And all of the infrastructure had been completely annihilated, but they were able to get up and running and provide social media updates via Twitter and other avenues, and be able to take phone calls, make phone calls, and operate with those two pieces of equipment to get their communications back online.
Great. So the last thought I wanted to get from you gentlemen is, what would you want the chief takeaway for the folks that are listening? What do you want them to leave with today? Larry, you can go first if you want.
Sure. So I appreciate the time today and giving an update on FirstNet. We're just getting started. As we go into the future and start building our own mission-ready applications on our network, where both the application and the network are built for each other, it's going to be an exciting time. And stay tuned, and we really appreciate you. And thank you very much.
Jonathan?
Yeah. Main takeaway, maybe a couple. One, public safety is becoming increasingly an attack vector. So you really want to secure yourself. Number two, I would say, don't wait for a disaster to have your comms in place, specifically for internet communications, and make sure those comms are mission critical grade communication systems. And third, I would say, FirstNet has really given us in public safety a redefined focus on solving problems a lot differently than we did in the past, whether it be through push to talk or accessing critical databases on criminals, or maybe hazmat databases. We are much more knowledgeable as we go into incidents than we were in the past. So I say leverage this type of technology to make your business more, your officers and firefighters more efficient and effective at their jobs, and to be safe utilizing and to provide safety by utilizing technology like this so that we can all go home to our families.
And that is what it is all about, is it not? So that concludes the questions, aside from a few notes from Larry's fan club, which I'll pass to him privately. I just want to thank both of you gentlemen for participating in the webinar today, and we hope that all of our attendees enjoyed the content and felt it was time well spent. We deeply appreciated everyone's participation. And again, we are the Public Safety Broadband Technology Association, and we want to be your advocate for all aspects of FirstNet utilization. I would encourage you to become a member of our association for $75 a year. You'll help support our efforts to continually bring you this kind of cutting edge information about FirstNet. You know, it's basically the nation's only fully dedicated mission critical first responders network, and all aspects of the ecosystem that are being purpose built for your advantage. We want to help you understand what that means and make sure you have full access to the information as that's evolving. We also invite you to join us in Westminster, Colorado, September 28th through October 1st for our Vision 2020 FirstNet User Summit. We're being very optimistic. We're continuing with our planning in hopes that we will be able to travel and interact by that time. So please visit our webpage at thepsbta.org for more information on the association, becoming a member, and our summit in September. With that, we are going to conclude our webinar with Cradlepoint on COVID-19, secure connectivity for rapid first and emergency response. Thank you very much for your time, everybody.